So today I'm going to be talking about the nonfiction books I read in December. Yes, you heard that correctly. I finished nonfiction in November and apparently I just couldn't stop. So I have a couple books that I really enjoyed and I am so excited to share them with you today. So hi, my name is Talia. I love books, I love bandanas. I'm so glad you are at my channel today because I'm going to be sharing with you some bonus nonfiction that I read in December. And actually, I think that I'm just liking nonfiction so much lately, particularly memoirs, that part of my 2023 goals is going to be nonfiction every month. And I haven't got my goals all set what I want them to be yet, but I know that's going to be a part of it because I just have really been enjoying the nonfiction that I read in December, as well as November, and the stuff that I read just sprinkled out throughout the year. Those have been some of my favorite reads this year. So there definitely will be more where this is coming from. So let's talk about the two books I read. So the first book I read was Through the Wilderness, My Journey of Redemption and Healing Through the American Wild. And that was written by Brad Orsted. And this was actually a NetGalley pick. So I was fortunate enough to get an advanced copy of it, which I was very excited about because it sounded amazing when I read the little description on NetGalley, and it did not disappoint. So this is Brad's story of losing a child very young. I think she was like a year and a half under suspicious circumstances. Basically, he drops her off at his mother's house, and the next day the child ends up passing away, and the mom basically stops talking to them. So just really a strange set of circumstances. So we kind of pick up Brad's story from there and follow him as he is grieving and feeling guilty for leaving his daughter with his mother, and just going through like this terrible tragedy. So he descends into deep depression, is very suicidal, is abusing a lot of alcohol, prescription drugs. He's really just in a bad place. He ends up moving with his wife and his stepdaughters to Yellowstone. His wife gets a job there, so they relocate to this national park in the middle of the United States. And he's still struggling there and just having a hard time deciding if he wants to live or not. Well, one day he's driving randomly really early in the morning. He just feels the need to get out of the house, and he's driving through the wilderness, and he just gets out of his truck and is just like walking like with no protection, completely unprepared to be there. But he's in just such a bad mental state that he's just like roaming through this field in Yellowstone, and he comes upon this huge grizzly bear. Like, he's like face to face with this bear, and in that moment he thinks, oh, like, I don't want to die, I want to live. Like, and that's the first feeling he's had of like wanting to survive in a very long time since he lost his daughter. So the story goes from there, and we just kind of follow his like 10-year journey in Yellowstone and learning and growing and having setbacks and just dealing with like the pain and grief of losing his daughter, but also learning like from nature in Yellowstone and finding like peace and healing in that place. And it was so good. His descriptions just really made you feel like you were there. Obviously a tougher read, like he tackles some tough topics and is like very raw about what he went through. But so much good stuff too. Like he talks about these bear cubs that he films, and like trekking through the woods, like following mountain lions, and just like the adventures in the story are amazing too. And then you just learn how he was able to cope and heal after this devastating loss. So I thought this book was 5 stars. I enjoyed every minute of it. Really good stuff. And this was an advanced copy, so this book is going to be published in, I think it's June. I'm not remembering the exact date, but I'll put it down here for you. So in 2023, in the summer, one to definitely keep your eyes peeled for, because I think it's going to be a big hit. So the next book I read was Funny Farm, My Unexpected Life with 600 Rescue Animals by Laurie Zaleski. And this was fantastic as well. This one had been on my radar for a while, and I actually listened to this one on audiobook. this is a memoir about a girl who grows up with her mother after leaving an abusive father situation, grows up with her mother in this tiny, tiny little rundown house, but there's like a little bit of property to the side of it. And they end up, her mother starts collecting animals like one by one, and they get up to like 30 animals that they're taking care of and feeding, like every stray cat or stray dog, or they have like horses that are going to be put down, but they save them, and goats, and bring them to their farm. There's like a pig living in the house at some point, and it's just like crazy childhood, but that Laurie knows is normal. She doesn't know what else to do with it, you know, and tells her story of growing up with all these animals, and then it tells her current story of now she owns this big farm, and she has over 600 rescue animals that she is taking care of, and just talks about her life. And she shares lots of hilarious animal stories, like very funny stories, and also talks about just her abusive father and how much he tormented them even after they were able to escape his abuse. And it's kind of just like a dual kind of, it goes back and forth two ways. So it's talking about her childhood, growing up, how they came to accumulate all these animals, and then stories, just it breaks it up with funny stories or heartwarming stories of animals along the way. So it was so good because you, on one hand, get the story of her childhood and just like the things she had to endure with this terrible abusive father, and how her mother just like rose up and was so resilient, and like not only took care of her 3 kids and supported them all with no help from him, but started taking care of all these animals. It was just such a good, heartwarming story. So many funny moments. I definitely laughed out loud. And it's so neat because now I'm following the Funny Farm on social media, and Laurie Zaleski is so awesome, and she does live feeds and posts like, hey, I need help for volunteers. And I wish I lived closer. She's on the other side of the United States. I think she's in New Jersey. So so not close enough for me to be there, but she is such a neat individual. Like, I love her story so much. So definitely recommend that one as well. So 2 5-stars for December. I definitely think you should check out both of these books. Funny Farm is available now, and again, Through the Wilderness will be available later in 2023. I'm also reading another nonfiction that was the book club pick for this month. So I just started The Ride of Her Life, the true story of a woman, her horse, and their last chance journey across America. And this is the story of Annie Wilkins. This is a true story of a woman who rode a horse across the United States in the 1950s, and this was picked by my in-person book club for the month. So you know, I've mentioned before I'm not big on horse stories, but this one actually is pretty good so far, and it's not so much about the horse as it is like Annie and trying to make it with no GPS or anything, very little money, trying to make it across the United States. So stay tuned for a review on that in the future. Yeah, I think that's all I have to share for today. I hope you guys are doing well wherever you are. We're almost at the end of 2022. I am so looking forward to next year. I have some fun things planned for my channel, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, I hope you take some time today to read a good book or two. And if you are having a bad hair day, just wear a bandana. Bye.